Hey guys. Oh my goodness. I am so excited. Well, listen, this week we're talking about one of my favorite books because apparently it's Audiobook Awareness Month. And let me tell you, I love me an audiobook. I used to be so anti audiobooks, but then I realized that I can't hold 10 different books in my purse. And I'm usually reading a million books all at one time, right? So again, this month is audio awareness or audiobook awareness month. I didn't know that audiobooks needed awareness. I I found that crazy. But anyway, besides that, I figured since it is that month, this special month for audiobooks, that I will talk to you guys about one of the books that totally transformed my life. That really actually, well, one of the books that actually got me going on this intentional living journey. And that is the book called Essentialism by, oh, of course, I like blank on his name as soon as I'm doing it, but Essentialism, the Disciplined Pursuit of Less by Greg McCowan. Let me tell you, this book was amazing. But before I get into all of that, let me introduce myself. My name is Sonja of SonjaW Coaching, where we get help go-getter women who are overwhelmed with all the things that they want to do, but really are focused on trying to build their dreams and make those dreams meet reality by showing them just how you can live intentionally. Okay? So listen, that's what we're doing today. We're going to talk about a book that helped me figure out the importance of living intentionally. So let me get right into it. Now, listen, before I do that, I'm going to break down five things. Is it five things? Yes, five things that this book has told me, right? But before I get to those five things, I want to pull out a quote that totally blew my mind, and I'm going to read it. It says, "If you don't prioritize your life, someone else will." When I tell you that hit me like a ton of bricks years ago when I first read that book, it is so key to understand that because if you don't prioritize your life, somebody else is going to do it for you. And you don't want that because you were made to do something amazing on this earth, in this time, in this season. And if we allow others to decide what's important for us, then we're going to end up just wandering around, feeling lost, feeling hopeless, and not understanding it, but totally busy and not understanding, well, I'm doing all of these things. Why am I just so lost? Right? So it's so important. And again, that's why it's so key that you are building and maximizing and cultivating those six key life relationships: your relationship with God, your health, your mind, your family, your friends, and your finances. It's so important that you do that, okay? So, all right, let's get into these five key highlights that stayed with me from that book. So, number one, essentialism is the path of being in charge of your choices and journeying through that. So, one of the big concepts that he talked about is actually creating a system for the closet of your life. So, all of us have our life. We have different sections to our life. We have different clothes for different things. And his whole idea is that your life is like a closet and you have to do three things to clear it out and make it organized. Number one, you got to explore. Number two, you have to eliminate. Three, you have to execute. So literally there's three things. Explore what you got in your closet. What's going on in there? You got some zebra print pants, you got some bulky sweater that you would never wear ever again. And then eliminate, cutting out all the things that you don't need in your life anymore or in your closet anymore. Do you really need those zebra print pants that I just told you about? Do you really? And then execute, removing any obstacles or anything that's in that closet that's causing you to be distracted or fall away from the things that you desire to do. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, sleep. Sleep is key. That's one of the reasons why I'm always talking about Sabbathing and resting and taking a moment to yourself, because sleep is restorative. Sleep is actually that time in your life where your body, your cells, your brain is rejuvenating itself. It's your brain is putting together memories and all of those different things. He talks about it that it's so key to your health, then say no. The life of an essentialist is one that says no a whole lot. Okay? One thing that he talked about, and it was kind of like the how of how to do it. And I want to kind of read a couple of these things. So he talks about, because I think one of the things that all of us struggle with, particularly when we're high achieving women or high achieving people, that we really, really, really struggle with saying no to people, because we're like, no, I want to help. Yes, of course I can do it. Yes, of course I can do it. But saying yes to all of these things means that you're saying no to something. And is that something essential for you? Is that something, a dream or a desire or a plan that you had for a long time? That's why it's so key to make sure that you know how to say no. And actually, one of the things that he talked about that I still use today, so some of y'all, if y'all know me personally, you might notice that I use it. I won't say no immediately. Perhaps I will say, wow, thanks for considering me. Let me look at my calendar and get back to you. Or I might not even say thank you. I say, you know, that sounds like fun, but let me look at my calendar first and then I'll get back to you. I'm always key about that. He talks about separating the decision from the relationship. So sometimes you may feel obligated because of who is asking you to do that thing. Well, you got to realize that your relationship has nothing to do with that ask, right? And you have to make sure that you are paying attention to the time that you have, to the things and around your calendar, to your energy. All of that is important in actually saying no. And sometimes separating that relationship helps you. And another way to do that is to really, really pay attention to what you are giving up when you don't say no. I talked about it a little bit earlier, kind of figuring out, okay, so when we say yes to everything, we're saying no to something else. And what is that something else? You have to realize and really pay attention to that, because when you're saying yes to something, you are saying no to another thing. And again, that's why it's so important that you got your life relationships, those key relationships sorted out, because then you'll know, okay, I can't say yes to that second time or that second event that is gonna happen on the only day that I can find rest for myself, right? Which one's more important, your health and your time of rest, or making that person feel good that you're showing up at that event? So really paying attention to the priorities in your life. He gives you 3 ways to say no. He says give pause, count to 3, or even wait until the person fills the void. So like somebody asks you for something and then you just don't say anything. You kind of just be. And sometimes the person will fill the void for you. Or a soft no. Let me know if we can meet again later and I can figure out, my calendar. And then again, my favorite, let me check my calendar and I'll get back to you. The fourth thing is that play is powerful. Yes, play is powerful. You should play. I think sometimes we think as adults that we're not supposed to have fun, and that's dumb. You're supposed to have fun, and there's something that just changes in our lives when we actually go and have some time to relax and to just play. And a lot of the times the most creative and awesome ideas come out of you being out there and playing. He actually laid out a couple of people. He said, Edison was playing around with stuff when he figured out electricity. Or oh my goodness, I can't even think of his name right now. Um, the awesome black scientist who figured out peanut butter in a million different ways to cook peanuts. I don't know why my brain is blanking, but he was playing around with peanuts. He wasn't just like, let me do this, one by one by one. He was playing around with it. Um, I think it's just so key that we take time to play. For me, that's reading a really good fiction, reading fantasy, reading things that just are exciting for me, or going out and taking a walk, or hanging out with my close friends. Those are all fun. Those are all playtime for me, right? And that is how we can rejuvenate and also how we can increase our creativity. Then the final one is the small win. And I love this quote that he had in this book. Is by the quote was from Doug Fireball, and it says, "Every day do something that will inch you closer to a better tomorrow." So he talks about, instead of starting out big, like you got this big giganormous thing, and you're like, I gotta get to this big thing. No, start with small incremental changes. So for instance, one thing that I thought I wanted to do, and I'm not gonna pursue it no more because my knee was like, girl, this ain't what you're gonna do. I wanted to I wanted to run like a half marathon or something. Actually, I never really wanted to run a half marathon. I wanted to actually be able to run a mile without pain, and to run like consistently without pain. And also just run, because I thought it was a cool thing to do. And I thought, people always be running and saying that it's amazing. And I was like, I can do that too. Well, for me, I started small. I started figuring out, okay, what's the smallest thing that I could do? Now, I'll be honest, my knees that I've injured before were like, girl, this is not for you. Go ahead and do some other exercises, okay? So that wasn't a goal that I hit, but learning to start small was really helpful, because at first I was like, I gotta knock this out. Let me just run a mile. And child, my body was like, no, sir. No, ma'am. No, sir. So learning to do that small. One thing that I have done was actually writing my devotional. That was something that was really a big task. I felt the desire to do, and at first I was like, oh my God, there's so many things to do. Oh my gosh, like I don't even know where to go to publish anything. What do I do about that? Worrying about that stuff even before I wrote the first thing. And I realized, let me just go small. What's the next best thing I could do? Write one of the days. What's the next best thing? Go searching through all of my journals and the things that I've written down before and begin compiling them. What's the next best thing I could do? Talk to an author friend. So I began to chip away slowly at that goal, right? And I was able to do it. As a matter of fact, we're coming up on the first anniversary. Wow, that's crazy. We're coming up on the first anniversary of my devotional. I wasn't even planning to talk about this, but I'm like so excited about this because it is an actual big thing that I've been desiring to do all of my life, to be an author. And to see that I actually hit that thing in July of last year, man, that's crazy. But anyway, the small win. Those small incremental steps allowed me to hit that goal with that devotional. So if you want to read it, you can go ahead and purchase it down below. There's a link below. But also remember the small wins and celebrate those small wins. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes celebrating wins can be hard for me. I don't always remember that. But when I do, it helps immensely in figuring out the next step and actually being excited for the next step. Okay, so listen, if that was good for you, if you got those 5 things and you're like, you know what, I need to read that whole book, go ahead and click the link below to get your copy of the book. And then also click the link below about my email list so that you can learn a little bit more about how to live your life intentionally, and also gain some extra energy and boost and joy and encouragement on your journey, to intentional life, okay, and intentional living. So I hope I see you at the next video. Definitely go ahead and click those videos that you're gonna see pop up for your next awesome listen. But then also check out those links below so that you can, 1, get the devotional, or 2, get that book, get Essentialism, because let me tell you, that book is life changing. And in order, finally, go ahead and get my email, get on my email list so that you can keep up to date with all that's going on. All right, y'all. So anyway, have an awesome, awesome day wherever you are. And I look forward to seeing you at the next video where we're talking all about intentional living and how we can make our dreams meet reality. Have a great day wherever you are.